Hello there, everybody, and welcome to another series of ramblings and analysis. Anthony joining you once again, and in case you haven't noticed yet, this edition is not being uploaded at the end of the month. Now, the reason for that is Wave 7, or at least the first half of Wave 7 for X-Wing is releasing on September 25th, and if I were to include my analysis for the two expansions that got previewed this month in September, which are the Lat Gunship and the HMP, the analysis would be released after the expansion's released, and I kind of don't want to do that, so you get this special edition in which I ramble on about specifically those two things. So let's cut the crap and let's get started. And we'll get things started with the Lat Gunship preview because that's the one that's being released first. Now, like we've already talked about the VII class in the August Ramblings video, but we now have the Lat, so the other medium ship out of this wave. Now, I have not looked at this yet, so let's see what we got. Okay, starting off with the dial. Only two blue maneuvers. Ooh, that's not good. So, one straight is blue, one banks are white, two banks and turns are white, two straight is blue, three straight and banks are white, three turns are red, four straight is red, and of course, it's being a transport, it has the zero stop. Now, I think the last ship that had only two blue maneuvers was the BTLB. And hopefully this is not a trend with Republic ships where they just have like very few blue maneuvers. Considering the ETA-2 and the V-Wing or Interceptors, I don't think that's going to be the case. But two blue maneuvers, that's just horrendous. Like, ugh. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the cards we have here. Deadeye Shot. Okay, let's see. While you perform a primary attack, if the defender is in your bullseye arc, you may spend a hit result or change a crit to a hit to expose one of the defender's damage cards. Okay, so you have essentially a mini version of Rexler's ability, and if they have a direct hit, this could easily be worth it, just so that way you can keep piling on damage, or if you want to shut down their actions, you could flip a blinded pilot. So this definitely has some use, but it would probably be best on 3 attacked primary ships, or ships that have access to a high-powered secondary. So, actually, no, it has to be a primary attack, duh. So, high-value primary ships. So, stuff like ETA-2 would be decent because of its bullseye thing. You're actually getting 3 dice. TIE Defenders could... no, wait, maybe not Defenders because they want juke. Like, looking over at what... maybe Star Vipers, since they have some positional flexibility with their ability. Protectorates might be able to take advantage of it. Just a few ideas, so... But I'm actually really liking that card, because if you know me, you know I love playing Rexler when I play TIE Defenders, so seeing this excites me. So we have the generic 212th Battalion, and looking at the ship overall, 2-die double turret primary. Okay, that's interesting. 1 agility makes sense, considering it's more of a transport, not a fighter. 8 hull, 2 shields. Oh, that's interesting. 2 charges. Okay, so it looks like that it's going to be just a standard ship stat to have 2 charges, and it is recurring. Action bar, focus, red reinforce, target lock, rotate, and reload. And it has the fire convergence ability. While a friendly ship performs a non-turret attack, if the defender is in your turret arc, you may spend 1 charge, and if you do, the attacker rerolls up to 2 attack dice. Okay, so even in its most basic form, it is designed as a support ship. Now, this isn't going to be as good with BTLBs because they're a little bit reliant on the turret since they're kind of slow. But for stuff like V-Wings or actually really only V-Wings and N1s could really take advantage of this. So just because they have a bit more positional flexibility compared to other cheaper Republic ships. And of course you have the Delta 7 and the ETA-2 that could likely take advantage of this. But the V-Wing and the ETA-2 we'll have to see on that one since those are going to be released 2 months after this drops. So I'm already liking this thing. So we have Hawk as a unique pilot. Yep, so everything has the fire convergence ability. As for Hawk himself, PS4, at the start of the end phase, each friendly ship at range 0 to 1 that has revealed a speed 3 to 5 maneuver may gain a strain token to perform a barrel roll or boost action. Okay, so another good possible pairing with the N1, considering those things already want to go speed 3 to 5 in order to gain their evade tokens off of full throttle. So honestly, this seems decent enough as a positional flexibility piece for N1s. And Perhaps also the ETA-2 might be able to take advantage of it, and same idea with the V-Wing, but we'll have to see how those ships really want to play, so that's definitely interesting, and I'm already liking this thing a whole lot, and this is coming from a guy who's really excited for the HMP, so we'll have to see what comes with that, probably the week after I record this. We'll see what happens. Hound is a PS2. After a friendly small ship in your turret arc gains a deplete or strain token, if you have no tokens of that type, you may transfer that token to yourself. Okay, I get what they're going for here, but the dial, like we said earlier, has only 2 blue maneuvers, so unless this thing is like, I'm not sure if there's really a use for it, just because it'll be really hard to get it off, and you might want to attack with this thing, or take a specific action in order to reload something. I don't know. In concept, it's a good idea. In practice, I'm not too sure. But if there's an upgrade that gives this thing extra blue maneuvers, then this might be a lot better, just because it's a lot less of a risk to take on those tokens. But honestly, this Hound and Hawk might pair well together if that is the case. So that could be fun. And then Warthog. After you or a friendly non-limited ship at range 0 to 2 are destroyed during the engagement phase, that ship is not removed until the end phase. Okay, so if you remember Fell's Wrath from 1st edition, this is basically that as a spread effect. Now, this, of course, would require you to play a bit of swarm tactics, but with the V-Wing coming out, honestly, that wouldn't be too bad, because up until now, really the cheapest option we could go with for Republic Swarms was V19s, but even then, unless you bought multiple Guardians of the Republic packs, which I really don't see a reason why you would. You really only had 2 V19s unless you borrowed stuff from other people. And the BTLB, it's kind of expensive, relatively speaking. So with the V-Wing coming out, hopefully that offers a nice, cheap swarm option that you can use to take advantage of this. So, because it does seem like an interesting ability overall, so again, just having the ability to get one last shot off guaranteed before a ship is destroyed is always a plus. So, albeit you do have to stay in a somewhat tight formation to take advantage of this, but we'll see how that goes when the V-Wing releases, and we'll start testing with that. Now, we have Rex as a gunner. This was revealed in one of FFG's Gen Con streams. While you perform an attack, you may spend a focus result. If you do, each friendly ship that has the defender in its bullseye arc may gain a strain to perform a focus action. Honestly, it seems interesting, but it really is dependent on bullseye arc. Now, again, high mobility ships like the Delta 7 and the N1 can take more advantage of this. So if you slap this on the 212th generic, it could be decent, because those ships, again, do have a high amount of blue maneuvers, so the strain penalty wouldn't be as punishing. Now, if you're using something like an ARC 170 or a BTLB Y-Wing, maybe not. But speaking of, you could slap this on one of those, and who knows, maybe it could actually turn out pretty decent. But I'm looking at this in the context of the gunship, and considering the gunship is, well, both the gunship and the ARC are medium ships, so the same theory could technically apply for both, so there's that. And plus the ARC 170 can't take R4 because it's a medium ship, duh. Fives is an upgrade. This is interesting. I was not expecting this. So, Republic-only crew, duh. After you perform an attack that missed, if the defender's pilot skill is equal or greater than your pilot skill, place 1 evade or focus token on this card. Before you engage, you may remove 1 token from this card to gain 1 matching token. Okay, so let's see. So let's think here. What Republic ships can take crew? So we know the LAAT can. That's fairly obvious since it's coming in this pack. I think the ARC 170 can, but don't quote me on that one. The BTLB with R2 as the pilot can. So actually, 5s on R2 might not be too bad as a way to chain additional tokens, since R2's ability, I'm pretty sure, already allows him to gain extra calculate tokens or something like that. I don't remember, but 5s with R2 could be interesting. In terms of the LAAT, perhaps with Hound, maybe that allows you to take advantage of that skill if you don't have any other ways to gain blue maneuvers, just so that way you still have at least some sort of action economy rolling. So that's definitely a potential combo. I'm definitely liking that. Suppressive fire. Oh, it's the new gunner, suppressive gunner. While you perform an attack, you may spend a focus result. If you do, the defender gains 1 deplete token unless it chooses to suffer a damage. Okay, so either they hinder their weapons or they take a damage. And depending on if you're able to dish out stress tokens or something like that, which I'm not sure if there are any effects for that for Republic that do that, but I mean, it could force you into some interesting situations. Again, this is a very situational card because most of the time, I think the attacker is going to want to take the defender, excuse me, is going to want to take the deplete token. But if they need to get a shot off, they might be forced to take the damage. This one's hit or miss, and again, it's very situational. But I wouldn't say it's a bad card. It's just, again, situational. I've said that like 4 times now. Ghost Company. Oh, we have a gunner and a crew in one slot. So it requires a Republic turret arc. So the Arc 170 can't take this. And I think, again, if you put a turret on a BTLB that is piloted by R2, I think R2 could take it. In fact, let me take a look at his card quickly just to make sure what I said earlier was accurate. Okay, so it turns out that R2 does not give extra calculate tokens, and instead just allows you to gain a single calculate token if there's an enemy ship in your rear arc, but again, with, I think it was 5s I was talking about with that could still be fun. And Ghost Company, since R2 does not have an astromech slot, instead has a crew slot, you could put this on there. After you perform a primary attack, if you are focused, you may perform a turret attack against the ship you have not attacked this round as a bonus attack. Okay, so it's a veteran turret gunner that gives you a link to rotate into a calculate, so really it's going to depend on the points. If it's a marginal increase from veteran turret gunner, then it might be worth it. If it's way too much, though, yeah, we'll see. But right now, the only ships that this can go on are the LAAT and the BTLB if R2 is in the pilot slot. So, and it has a turret, so there's that. Wolf Pack. So another one, only LAATs or BTLB with R2 turret gunner. This one actually could also go on the Arc 170 because it doesn't have that turret restriction. After a friendly ship at range 0 to 3 defends, if the attacker is in your firing arc, the defender may gain a strain token in order to acquire a lock on the attacker. Okay, so which card was it that... Okay, so Suppressive Gunner. I don't think the LAAT has 2 gunner slots. If it does, that would be an interesting combo, but I'm going to run under the assumption that it doesn't. So... it's interesting, and let's see. Oh, yeah, actually, this could be interesting with, what was it? Alpha 3B Bash, because that requires, some target lock shenanigans. Also could be fun with Tarkin, which I know his ability interacts with target locks in some regards, so honestly, like, this doesn't seem that bad. If you put it on an Arc 170, that could have some ordnance that could take advantage of in regards to the locking shenanigans. And, of course, the LAAT likely has ordnance since it has the reload action. So, let's see what else. We've seen... Oh, Kit Fisto. We haven't seen this one yet. Single crew, Republic only. Gives you a force charge and a purple evade. At the start of the engagement phase, you may choose a friendly ship at range 0 to 1 and spend a force charge. If you do, it may perform a red evade action. If you pair this with Debris Gambit and you're near a rock, just saying, so that could be a fun combo. We'll have to see how that pans out, though. Plo Koon, we've already seen it. I talked about it in the video of the Wave 7 announcement back in January before I started shifting away from this stuff. Ayla Secura, we kind of saw this already. When an enemy ship in your bullseye arc performs an attack, if the defender is friendly and at range 0 to 2, the defender may change one blank result to a focus result. Gives you a force charge and gives you a focus into a purple coordinate. So, it's interesting. I mean, you get extra focus results, so maybe it could act as a juke counter in some capacity. So, there's that. So, if, like, defenders or... N1s with juke start running around, or Phantoms with juke start running around, this could be a fairly decent counter, and at least that's the way I'm looking at it. So, we saw Yoda on the not on camera, live stream that they revealed Rex in. After another friendly ship at range 0 to 2 fully executes a purple maneuver or performs a purple action, you may spend 1 force charge. If you do, that ship recovers a force charge. 2 force charges on a crew with a purple coordinate. So if you're running force-sensitive pilots or other ships with force-sensitive crew, that is always an option. So just especially like if you're running a Delta 7 or an ETA 2, because those abilities require force charges to use. At least the Delta 7 I know. The ETA 2 I'm not 100% sure on that, so correct me if I'm wrong on that. So that looks like everything that we're going to see in the LAAT expansion. So I'm going to go quickly take a look at if everything has actually been revealed. Please hold on. Okay, so looking at the product spread, we know 13 of the 14 upgrades. So we see Ayla, Agile Gunner, Rex, concussion missiles, Deadeye Shot, 5s, Ion missiles, Ghost Company, Kit Fisto, and multi-missile pods in the product spread. We also know that the Wolfpack, Suppressive Gunner, and Yoda are coming in the pack, so that's 13 of the 14 upgrades. So the 14th one, we don't know what it is. So overall, it's a fairly decent ship. This was definitely the one that baffled me the most in regards to Wave 7. But actually, after seeing it now, I think it might be fairly decent. So that'll do it for the LAAT. And now let's go ahead and move on. And of course, now we have the HMP Preview. Now, I have made no secret to this in the past, or at least I think I haven't, but this was easily the thing I was looking forward to the most out of Wave 7. After reading the LAAT Preview, I'm definitely excited for that as well, but when Wave 7 was first initially announced, this is what I was looking forward to, even though we didn't know the Tri-Fighter was coming at that time. Like, I'm still super hyped for the Tri-Fighter, but this is going to be a lot of fun. I just hope the upgrades and whatever else is included in here meet what I'm hoping to see. So let's go ahead and look. Starting by looking at the dial, it has a 0 stop. Well, that makes sense. It was designed as a in-atmosphere gunship, so it should be able to stop and just hover around and shoot things. So that makes sense. Blue one straight, red one banks. Makes sense for a droid. The banks tend to be harder. For the 2 speeds, we have 2 straight and turns are blue, and the 2 banks are white. Again, we've been seeing this with droid dials like crazy. For the 3 speeds, 3 straight and 3 turns are white, 3 banks are red. 4 and 5 straights are then red. So it can't go too fast, otherwise it'll stress itself out, but it has the option to. So makes sense. We see the typical droid dial tropes. We see the typical gunship dial tropes. So they blended that very well, I will say. Okay, so then we have a whole swarm of things here. So I'm just going to look at the full images. So we have the Bactoid drone at PS1. The stat line, it has a full 180-degree arc of 2 dice for the primary. 1 agility, which makes sense to an extent, I guess. Well, this is, again, designed as an in-atmosphere thing, so in space it's not going to be as maneuverable compared to other things, so makes sense. Well, especially compared to the Hyena, because this is really, the Hyena is probably its closest comparison, because that was actually my main argument for why the HMP shouldn't come into the game, because the Hyena existed, but either way, I'm happy they brought it in. So anyways, back to that rant over, back to this. So 1 agility, 5 hull, 3 shields, so a little stronger than the Hyena, because I think that was like 6 hull or something like that, so there's at least that. For the action bar, calculate, no shocker there. Target lock, no shocker there. Red barrel roll, honestly, I'm cool with it. And then you have the reload, a white reload, as a matter of fact, into a red calculate. I'm really liking that, so there's at least some differentiation with the Hyena, because I think the Hyena had a red reload, but don't quote me on that one. As for the ship ability, networked aim, you cannot spend locks to re-roll attack dice. What? Hold on. What? There's better be a good effect. While you perform an attack, you may re-roll a number of attack dice up to the number of friendly locks on the defender. If only Separatists had synchronized console, this would be absolutely bonkers. That or Tarkin, but unfortunately they don't have that. But still, this is interesting. So fire control system really isn't gonna matter for HMPs if they can take systems. Now, if you're running a couple of HMPs with some Hyenas and some Vulture droids, then you can start to take advantage of some stuff maybe. So, and plus it'll probably help your action economy, because you may not need to lock with the HMP. You can lock with other things and then give your HMP calculate tokens. You have the rerolls. You can use your calculate tokens. You could reload if you need to. So On the surface, it doesn't seem as good, but once you start pairing it with other ships, and you're going to be, because the main separatist mentality is swarm, 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 once you start doing that with this ability, it actually makes it a lot better than it seems on the surface. So we also have the PS3 variant, Separatist Predator, nothing too special there, so there's that. We have DGS 286 with an ability of, before you engage, you may choose another friendly ship at range 0 to 1. That ship transfers a Calculate token to you. Okay, so if you have another ship with multiple Calculate tokens, or if you have a Vulture Swarm nearby in which one of them can't attack, you could pop a Calculate token over to them, so that way you could at least have a bit more action economy if you, for whatever reason, can't calculate yourself, or you needed to acquire a target lock in order to get the reroll. And I just realized that because of his effect, he essentially has a built-in fire control system, so yeah, that's, or actually all HMPs have that, so that's pretty good, so, because fire control system is a fairly decent card, so having a built-in one, essentially, on the HMP, that's, so basically the hyenas are going to play more into traditional Vulture Swarm tactics, whereas the HMP is more likely to be used in heavy ordnance builds and is able to kind of work with itself, essentially, so there's some differentiation, and I'm liking that, because again, like I said, we really didn't know how they were going to differentiate it compared to the hyena. So, moving on. New tactical relay, Kalani. In case you don't recognize this guy, he was in Rebels for a couple of episodes, and I know he was in Clone Wars for a couple of episodes as well. I think it was the Onderon arc, but don't quote me on that one. 3 recurring charges, and all 3 recur at the end of the turn. Gives you the Calculate action if you didn't already have it. After an enemy ship executes a maneuver, if it is in the bullseye arc of a friendly ship at range 0 to 3, you may spend 1 charge. If you do, that friendly ship acquires a lock on that enemy ship, then gains 1 stress token. Okay, so I don't remember the name of the ship, but I know one of the hyena pilots, the uniques, has the tactical relay upgrade. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if you started seeing that guy see play as a cheap way to carry this, and then having a hyena and HMP swarm in order to take advantage of networked aim, and the hyenas taking advantage of networked calculations with each other. So this again, like I said, this is a way that you can gain extra target locks for networked aim, so that was something the HMP needed, and of course it's coming in the pack. So, and looks like you can do it multiple times in a turn because you have 3 charges and they all recur at the end of the turn. So that's interesting to see. I am really liking that. Now, this is a card they revealed on the live stream when they talked about all the X-Wing stuff revealed at Gen Con. So Repulsor Stabilizers is a dual card. You equip this side face up. You reduce the difficulty of your straight maneuvers, and after you execute a maneuver, you would flip this card. Now, if we go back to the dial, for the 1 and 2 speed straights, it doesn't matter in the slightest, unless you have a card or have something that increases the difficulty. But I think the only things that increase maneuver difficulty are like a couple of damage cards, and then there are a couple of upgrades, like crew upgrades, that I don't think the HMP will be able to take. But you increase your 3 straight to a blue, and then your 4 and 5 straight to white, so that's nice. So you can essentially turn off the hover thrusters and then just be able to go into dogfighting mode, so that's nice. And after you execute a maneuver, you may flip the card. And this is the side we didn't see previously. After you reveal a bank or turn maneuver, you must perform that as a slip side, then flip this card. After you fully execute a non-slip side maneuver, you may flip this card. So slip siding, if you remember from first edition, Lieutenant Laurier, which was an interceptor pilot who could barrel roll using the bank template, or actually a better example is Star Vipers. They have the ability to barrel roll with the bank template. This is basically that, except you do it as your maneuver. So you get to stay in arc, you can slip out of arc. So there's another differentiation from the Hyena, where that's more of a straight line dogfighter bomber. This is a little more elusive and can position itself a little better in order to get better shots, and just has a few more tricks up its sleeve in that regard. Let's see, let's keep looking. Multi-missile pods, we've already seen this. And then we have DGS 047, a PS1. After you perform an attack, if the defender is in your front arc, you may acquire a lock on it. Then if the defender is in your bullseye arc, it gains a strain token. Okay, so another way to get locks out. plus you can give strain tokens. Not really much else to say there. It's just benefiting your already innate ability and then adding an extra boost on there if you can line up your bullseye arc right, which with repulsor lift stabilizers may not be the hardest thing in the world necessarily. So let's see, are there any other okay, so there are a few more cards here. Synced laser cannons. Okay, so this takes up 2 cannon slots, which I think the only other ship that has this is the B-Wing, because I think it lost a torpedo slot and got to... Oh no, the aggressor for the Scum has it as well. So 2 cannon slots. It's a 3-die primary at range 2 to 3. If you are calculating, the defender does not apply the range bonus. Ooh. Okay, so a way to shut down the range bonus. That's interesting. So that's interesting. And I think, can B-Wings take crew in this edition? I don't remember. But if that's the case, then you might want to throw like 3PO or something on it in order to be able to calculate. With this, you're already, with the HMP, since it comes in the pack, it has to be able to take it. You're already going to be calculating a ton just because of the way that lock sharing works. So that's going to be a huge thing for Separatists. And as for the aggressor, it's IG-88. You're going to be calculating up the wazoo, so that's going to be huge. Now, I can B-Wings? Okay, now this is bugging me. I'm going to go take a look and see if I can figure that out. Okay, so I'm looking here. So B-Wing can unfortunately not take crew, but they do have 2 cannon slots, so you could use synced lasers on it if you wanted to. You just wouldn't be getting the calculate effect unless there's a way for Rebels to transfer calculate tokens to other ships. If you can think of anything for that, let me know in the comments. I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now, and I'm actually in a bit of a crunch to get this recorded, so I can't really look that up right now. So let's see here. Next up is the Onderon Oppressor. After you barrel roll or side slip, if you are stressed, gain a calculate token. So you have ways to gain calculate tokens, which if you're using sync lasers, you can totally do that. So barrel rolling, it makes sense. You have the red barrel roll, so you get to take advantage of it and at least keep some action economy. For side slipping, well, if you're using the bank maneuvers, you would take the stress. So it just basically is a fail-safe, so if you take a stress token, you gain a calculate token. Was there an effect that was like this? I feel like there was one that was something that was like this in first edition, but I don't remember, so I'm not going to say anything there. And then the Geonosian prototype, while you perform a missile or cannon attack, you may remove up to 1 tractor token from the defender to reroll up to 2 attack dice. Okay, so if you have some other ships with cannons on the field, so how many other Separatist ships have cannons? Because the Vulture doesn't, the Belbalab doesn't, the Slave 1... No, wait. Yeah, the Slave 1 will when it comes out, but I'm not thinking of that right now. So Sith Infiltrator does. The Hyena doesn't. The Nantex doesn't. Then this does. And so that's 3 ships. So if you're not running synced lasers on this and instead running like a control thing with Ion and Tractor Beam, perhaps this could be decent, maybe, but it's relying on tractor tokens, so you got to be a bit careful. I forgot. Wait, can the Nantex dish out tractor tokens? If it can, this is much better, but if it can't, you're going to have to do some weird things with fire sprays, Sith Infiltrators, and HMPs without synced lasers. So, yeah, I don't have time to look that up, but I might throw something in post if I do find out if Nantexes can deal out tractor tokens, so there's that. And then a new type of ordnance, concussion bombs. During the system phase, if any of these cards' charges are inactive, you must spend 1 charge to drop 1 concussion bomb. Otherwise, you may spend a charge to drop a concussion bomb. Now, so basically what this means with 3 charges is that you can keep them loaded until you need them. Then you spend 1, drop the first one, then the next turn you have to drop the second, and then the next turn you drop the third. So basically it's a 3-turn chain of bombs, so you're essentially doing pretty much like a bombing run in every war movie ever. That's what you're doing here. So honestly, as a bit of a history nerd, this is kind of cool, just because and if you've watched any historical footage from World War II, that's what you'll typically see, or actually any sort of footage of bombing runs, that's what you'll see. You'll just see a cluster of bombs slowly falling out and just trailing along. This emulates that, and as a history nerd, that is kind of just that it's hitting all the right buttons. So that's kind of cool. At least from that standpoint. In terms of the actual effect, I'm not going to say anything until we figure out what the concussion bombs actually do in terms of damage. So overall, like, it met my expectations. I was a little worried after the LAAT that this wouldn't meet my expectations, but it has. It's differentiated itself enough from the Hyena where it's something that I will want to play, and it's got enough new tools that actually benefit other ships. So overall, I was a little underwhelmed with the wave, except for the HMP when it was first revealed. But now I've looked at the Xi class, it seems interesting. It's definitely my least favorite, but considering I'm liking everything out of this now, that's not saying a whole lot. I really like the LAAT after reading that preview, and you can see the two previews here. And now the HMP I am still loving, so this wave is actually fairly decent. So yeah, that'll do it for this. I'm not sure when the preview articles for the TIE Brute and the Heroes of Hope are going to be going up, but depending on when they go up, they'll either be in September's Ramblings and Analysis, or they'll be their own independent video sometime in October. We'll see what happens. So again, yeah, this was just a one-off, so that way I could get my analysis of these two packs out before they released on September 25th. So not sure if I'll have to do this ever again. Hopefully I don't, but if I do, hey, I get to talk about X-Wing in a dedicated video. So either way, it's fine. Yeah, I'm actually just going to cut it off here before I start rambling on about whatever. So yeah, that will do it for this video. Peace out, y'all.